Dr. Y.V. Verma, and our guest of honor, Dr. V.P. Singh. Thank you, sir. Light symbolizes knowledge, while darkness represents ignorance. Parallel to the thoughts as per the English tradition at Jaipur and Noida, where we always begin any event with the blessings of God, I therefore request our honorable guests and director sir to please light the auspicious lamp in reference to the knowledge to start the special day. By contemporary feminism is the notion of the glass ceiling a theory, whereby the noted differentiate a number between men and women at the top of organization hierarchies in businesses is attributed to gender and structural discrimination against women as a gender in favor of men. Despite the big names like Nanda Kochar, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Indra Nuni and recently elevated Arundhati Bhattacharya of SBI, the data tells a very different story in the industry. The inaugural session coupled with two panels will unfold the truth behind the myth of glass ceiling. To proceed further, I would request our Director Sir Dr. Rajiv Thakur to give his welcome address. Dr. Rajiv Thakur.
A very good morning to all of you. It is indeed my privilege and an honor to welcome two dignitaries, our chief guest, Mr. Yasho Verma ji, and our guest of honor for the function, Mr. V.P. Singh. On this occasion, we really welcome you and thank you for raising this occasion. At the same time, I would also like to welcome all my faculty colleagues and guests from the industry and other institutions, and a very good morning to all of my students. I think continuing with the tradition of providing these kind of platforms where we introduce certain very relevant challenges or relevant phenomenon which is happening in the industry, to get our students exposed and to give them the insider's view on these subjects. Jaipur and Noida has been organizing these conclaves year after year. As far 2014 is concerned, this is the first of the series, and I am glad and happy that IPSA has been able to successfully put together this HR conclave with again a very relevant theme, which is the glass ceiling, myth or reality. And fortunately, for the whole day in the different panels, we have speakers, we have people who carry experience and wisdom behind themselves, who will be touching upon various aspects of this particular theme and this particular phenomenon which prevails in the corporate world and is one of the challenges for many of the practitioners as well as the professionals. To talk about the two dignitaries who are present in the inaugural function, I had the first opportunity of listening to Yashodhara Manji about 15 years back at IIT Delhi, Department of Management Studies, and I think thereafter I had a couple of occasions to hear him on certain public platforms. But then the most striking thing which I still remember was his address to the students and to the Management Studies Department at IIT Delhi, where he shared his experiences. He carries a vast experience. He is an authority in his own right as far as HR and the strategic aspects of running business is concerned. Having represented, having worked with global giants like Tata, LG, Onida, and then now into his own venture. He carries a rich experience and wisdom. And I was referring to that particular address where he was talking about the various challenges which a professional like him, particularly from the HR domain, what kind of challenges he has faced, and the way he would have dealt situations in difficult situations like Jamshedpur, which is Naxalite affected, and so on and so forth. And the only message that he probably wanted to leave with the audience was that it is the internal confidence and your internal strength which matters in managing the challenges or creating opportunities for yourself and for the institution. He also mentioned, probably I clearly remember that it is the way you think and it is the innovation and the new ways of addressing to a particular problem or a particular issue that makes the difference, and how creative he had been or his team had been with LG in building that LG India or the subsidiary which of the group which has been so successful in an emerging country like India. I'm sure today's his insight on this particular subject will throw further light and will benefit you all. We have our own VP Singh Ji who has been gracious enough, and we are indeed obliged to him, express our gratitude that every time that we invite him, he is kind enough to grace this, the occasions and address and share his thoughts. Not only sharing his thoughts and ideas is valuable to us, but as you realize, the art of connecting with students, the art of connecting with the audience, and the magic and the beauty he weaves in his oratory, I think that is what is something unique about him. So we are indeed privileged, sirs, that we have this morning with you all, and I'm sure we will be learning more about this particular theme and topic, which I think is very relevant. I'm not a master or authority on the subject. I'll leave it for more insights for you to dwell upon. But few initial thoughts that as a layman, because this is for sure that this is one when we talk of glass ceilings, which is a matter of which if you have to really talk in 2-3 words is deprived opportunities or some kind of discrimination, which somewhat is felt in the corporate world. And it is an important subject not only for professionals working in the corporate world, but also for authorities and professionals and researchers who are managing these challenges around glass ceiling. But more than that, I am happy that IPSA has chosen this topic for an audience like you, because you as future budding managers and potential managers who carry a high dream and a high aspiration, you have high hopes with the future in the corporate world. I think somewhere in your life tomorrow, you will be confronted with this kind of a challenge which is called glass ceiling. And there you need to be prepared how to confront. You need to understand what these issues are all about. I think this is one issue which is not so tangible. It is complex. And I think in today's address you will get to know that whether this phenomenon is because of, when I say it is complex, it is because of the culture or the constitution of the society, or is it because something is in the organization which is again around people? Is it something which is around leadership? Is it something which is a mindset phenomenon? And when we are talking of glass ceilings, I think this glass ceiling may be a technical term which is pertaining to the corporate world. But you and I, everyone, if we look around, everywhere there is a ceiling. You are talking about ceiling because you are looking vertically up. But then look into our society, look into the gender, the kind of treatment and the kind of opportunities, all the deprived opportunities which between genders that may be existing. I'm reminded of the kind of constraints which happen because of the walls that are there in the society or in the home. It starts from home itself. You will find that there is a section of people who are deprived because they find that there are 4 walls around them and they are confined within those 4 walls. At times you are so frustrated that you don't even have an opportunity to have a free air or a free environment in which you can enjoy your life. It could be again related to certain values, certain practices, certain beliefs, or it could be because of certain external developments or the changes in the society, the environment which may be happening. So one thing, to me it is not something which is a challenge which is only restricted or confined to the corporate world. It is a larger phenomenon, and I'm sure during the day's deliberation we will be talking about these details and more. We'll certainly request our practitioners to throw more light on that. But I leave this dais or this address with last thought that glass ceiling can be a phenomenon which can restrict someone to reach a certain position. But then, if you really looking for more broad, you look your personality, your life, your existence in totality, then you must give it a thought that is it that the only position or hierarchy in the organization is the ultimate goal and objective of your life. Then you might hit some ceilings there, but then the society, this world is not close to so many other things where you can get connected with the society, with the world, in terms of giving back to the society, working for the society, working for the world. So when you start looking at it from this broader dimensions, you will find that there is no ceiling or there is no wall around it. And I think this is one food for thought I would like to leave with all of you, that please don't restrict your life goals with respect to just certain positions and hierarchies or your success within the corporate. Even if you are within the corporate, try to look beyond that corporate world. How can you well connect with the society? How can you do well? How can you enjoy your life? How can you make your life complete by giving to the society, connecting with the society, and in the best way that the kind of skills that you may be possessing, the kind of interest that you may have, and certain things which will make you happy. from within, something which will make you complete. I'll just give you a last instance when what Professor Mr. Verma was sharing with us, now having accomplished his career. He was just mentioning that at this stage also he has got offers, and obviously so, from various corners, nationally, internationally. But now he is determined to focus on how he is going to give back to society. Probably this is where he will not find any kind of ceilings. He will not even find any ceilings around. And that's where he is probably enjoying the most. And he would like to enjoy the most in his coming days. So I think we need to learn from these examples. And with these words, I really wish this conclave a great success. Thanks to all my colleagues, thanks to the IPSA team, thanks to all the students here for organizing this conclave so successfully, inviting so many scholars to this conference, and also being present here and benefiting out of this conclave. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Dear friends, we have the privilege of having invited and listened galaxy of speakers across events in the campus. Following the past, today we have with us Dr. V.P. Singh, Executive Director, Human Resources, RJ Corp, as our guest of honor. Dr. V.P. Singh is a postgraduate in Personnel Management and Industrial Relations from Punjabi University and study fellow, Department of Management Studies, University of Leeds, United Kingdom. He is trained professional in TQM at JCB, United Kingdom. He holds PhD in Organizational Effectiveness and has written more than 20 research papers. He has been a visiting faculty with reputed business schools and is member of the Advisory Council of Asia Retail Congress 2012. He is also an active member of International Positive Psychology Association, USA. With more than 38 years of experience, he is a constant inspiration to the RJ Corp. Sir, podium is all yours. Dear friends, please welcome Dr. V.P. Singh.
Good morning. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge, applaud, appreciate whoever has drafted this document. It's a brilliant document. The brochure. Who is that? That is Amit. Absolutely. Why I say this is because you come across this kind of document pretty often. Quite often, every time you go to different programs, you get some kind of a document. You also get brochures on various training programs. But very rarely you come across a very strong academic input. Very rarely you come across a thought which has gone into it. So I compliment Khalid Saab for doing a great job. In fact, if you read this document, the seminar is over. That's how I see it. They're brilliantly conceptualized and articulated. So having said that, let me also confess at the very beginning that I'm no expert of this subject. Although I'm standing in front of you, but I cannot claim any fame on this particular theme. Nonetheless, the fact remains that this is a subject which always impacts you. It always poses a lot of questions rather than giving solutions and answers. So, and I'm also especially a responsible citizen, both a social citizen as well as corporate citizen. This is an issue which we all face, and so do I in my day-to-day interaction. Not only in the corporate world, but in society also, we see so much of discrimination. And glass ceiling, which is primarily concerned with what kind of experiences and what kind of state of affairs we have in the corporate world, but that discrimination is rampant everywhere. I had an opportunity to do some Google search, and I came across some good work which was done in US in 1991 when President Bush was there, and he constituted a federal glass ceiling commission in 1991. And this commission submitted a report which is a very powerful report. And if you do Google search, you will come across this particular report. And some of the points which is captured in this commission's report, and then an executive summary available. If you read that, probably you will get a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of insight into the challenges of glass ceiling. My thought is for a very large extent revolving around that commission's report. And also I propose to recite a short poem which will be the original thing. The rest of the thing are available in www. My poem. Okay. So basically, if we talk about glass ceiling, I mean, as Khalid has already defined what is glass ceiling, so I'm not going to talk anything about that. Basically, it talks about three barriers. The barriers are societal barriers, supply barrier, and difference barrier. So society barrier is primarily which is beyond purview of corporate leaders. So that's something relating to the value systems, assumptions about women or minorities, our whole thought process. And I think that's very fundamental. I think the glass ceiling is outcome and function of our value system. The way we look at women, the way we look at any minority group, it is not necessarily women, but the whole set of minorities, right from scheduled castes, scheduled tribes to various other small groups. The way we look at them, our inability to accept people around us, that's a kind of a barrier. And that's the difficult part. That's the most difficult part. And my thought and my belief is that law doesn't help much. It definitely helps to make cosmetic changes, peripheral changes, changes at the surface level, but deeper changes basically involve societal norms, assumptions, paradigms, so on and so forth. So that's the first part. Second is supply barrier. That means in society, in the school, college, university, but also in corporate world. So that's also a barrier. And third, which is actually somewhere related to the first one, is the difference barrier, which is basically talking about our conscious, unconscious stereotyping. The way we stereotype people around us, the kind of word we use to describe a particular group, our prejudices, our biases relating to gender, race, ethnicity. Only 2 days back, our health minister, Harshvardhan, said that women are like temple. Now that sounds very good on surface. But when he started talking a little more, what he was trying to say that woman is like temple, woman's body is like a temple, and hence, he started sounding more like, Nazi. I mean, when Hitler and Goebbels and other people were there in World War II prior to that, they were trying to create a pure Aryan race. And if you read Harshvardhan's statement, and unfortunately I'm not carrying that news item, if you read it very carefully, you will find that on the one hand it sounds very nice and good that woman is temple, but probably intentions are different. And a lot of women's bodies and associations and organizations have objected to this statement. Read that, if you read yesterday's Economic Times, on the second page you will find the controversy which has been generated by this statement, which is apparently very innocuous statement that woman is temple. If we talk about corporate world, basically there are again a lot of barriers. There are recruitment practices which go against women. There are corporate climate issues which alienate women. There is a barrier of what this US Federal Commission talked about is pipeline behavior, which means the flow of women talent into the organization. It also we also experience barrier of mentoring, training, career development, job rotation, and then lack of informal network within the organization, which can facilitate growth and development of women force, and thereby crashing and breaking that glass ceiling. And also, the success of breaking glass ceiling to a very large extent depends on who is running the show. And that's where the role of chief executive becomes very important. Before I talk about chief executive's role, I was talking about what HR or the leadership or management can do to break and reduce this glass ceiling was informal network. Now, I can share that in my organization. Basically, we are into Pizza Hut, KFC right now. We all are also the world's third largest Pepsi bottle. But currently, I'm talking about Pizza Hut and KFC. We have created a special group within the organization which comprises women employees. And we have given the name, a very powerful name called Tejaswani. And this Tejaswani is a group which I am associated with. And this is a very informal group, and this has nothing to do with Pizza Hut and KFC. This is basically a group where women employees meet and they talk, they discuss their own challenges, difficulties, problems, opportunities, so on and so forth. And I'm available somewhere around in case there is a need and support. And thereby enable and equip and ensure that this so-called glass ceiling is at least cracked, if not broken. So that informal structure is also something that is very vital and important. So what I was talking about, that internal barriers are also very vital, and that they are crucial. And how do we break that is a challenge which confronts all HR leaders as well as any leadership in any organization. There is no one way of breaking this glass ceiling. There are multiple ways because the barriers are different, barriers are multiple, so it's not only one. We talked about the role of CEO, and also, you see, this glass ceiling cannot be, only a topic of seminar. If it remains topic of a seminar, or if it remains something which is discussed once in a year or once in a while, like Mahila Divas or something, Mother Day, then you're not going to make any difference. It has to be part of complete agenda day in, day out. It has to be part of the strategic plan of the organization. It has to be somewhere in the business plan. It has to be somewhere in the HR plan. And it has to be part, a composite, complete, comprehensive, integral part of whole approach. Unfortunately, we choose such subjects, discuss once in a while, and feel good. This is not a feel good subject. This is not something, like celebrating Valentine's Day or Mother Day or Father Day. If one is serious, then we are going to go by several issues. And that's the problem. That's the challenge. And in corporate world, unless and until the CEO or managing director and the HR director is aware and conscious and operating from this mindset that no, this is not one day affair. This is not photo opportunity affair. There is something which has to be part of my DNA. So that's something which I believe is extremely important. And also, this is what Federal Commission also talked about. That is not merely creating plan, but also, articulating the accountability. Who is accountable for breaking this glass ceiling? Somebody has to be accountable. Somebody has to take charge. It has to be somebody's care in a simple way. So who is accountable and how it is being monitored? So unless and until that becomes part of DNA of an organization, I believe that then this cannot really be addressed. I would like to be brief, and maybe if there is any question we can discuss a little later. What I would like to conclude before I come back to the poem, just give me a second. I would like to make a bit of a controversial statement. I would like to make this statement that discrimination and inequality will continue. It will remain. We might be a bit romantic about it, but I believe it will continue. I don't think that the world will become equitable, or what do you call it? Equitable and equal society. I don't think that that's how it is designed. Is that good? Bad? It's very difficult to comment on that. And this is my take that discrimination, inequality will continue. Probably that's how the whole dynamics is designed. I also believe, and that's again a very controversial statement, that women are equally responsible for this glass ceiling. And when I use the word glass ceiling, I do not suggest a new glass ceiling in corporate world. Glass ceiling in family. Is there no glass ceiling in the family? There is. And more often than not, if women, they are equally responsible, the mother-in-laws. And there is a concept in law called contributory negligence. Sir, contributory negligence बोलते हैं ना? So women are also responsible for equally contributory negligence. That's my submission. And I know it's a very controversial statement. And thirdly, I believe that this ceiling can be cracked, if I don't know whether it can be broken or if it can be tarnished or removed completely or not. It will come only from women, and there has to be an assertive assertion beyond seminar discussions. It cannot be. It's okay to debate and dialogue to start with, but it has to convert into action somewhere. And that's what I am suggesting from this platform. All of you are young, both male and female. And it's not, glass ceiling is not only something which bothers women. It equally impacts men also. Because this is basically an ecosystem we are talking about, and how fair, equitable, non-discriminatory that ecosystem is, whether it's the social ecosystem or the corporate ecosystem. And male are also equally responsible, and they also have a very strong role to play in generating that kind of positive ecosystem. So, give me a second. I'm very bad in terms of IT and my mobile, and taking time. Probably what I do is that I'll come back and then decide this point. So if I conclude, what I'll say is that there are barriers within the society, within the corporate value systems, so on and so forth. And unless and until we address this issue comprehensively, I don't think that any kind of law can work, although, for example, there have been Supreme Court judgments like Vishaka and all those. Even the Supreme Court judgments are not being complied with in corporate world. That's another unfortunate part. Again, because of lack of awareness, lack of drive, lack of campaign and all that. Thank you very much. I'll come back, share my point a little later.
For sharing such great insights, and I'm sure we are going to get highly benefited from your deliberation. Friends, continuing where our guest of honor left us, we have the pleasure of having with us today Dr. Y.V. Verma as our chief guest. Dr. Yashu V. Verma is a business consultant and mentor. He is founder-mentor of Inspium Solutions Private Limited and Maxell's Learnings. He is member of Executive Board of Ford School of Management, Delhi. He worked with Onida as Chief Executive Officer till Feb 2014. He was earlier the Director of LG Electronics India, looking after a business of rupees 8,000 crores, approximately USD 1.2 billion. In 1997 as Vice President. In 2008, he was the first non-Korean to be elevated as executive in LG Global hierarchy. Dr. Verma, as an engineer, graduate with post-graduation in Business Administration and PhD in area of Organizational Behavior from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. He was rated as heretic by Business Today and Gallup and covered on cover page of Business Today, a prestigious business magazine in India in 1997. First non-Korean to be elevated in global hierarchy as executive, he has delivered several lectures in India and abroad and has addressed boards, leadership, teams of prestigious companies in India and abroad with ITC, JT Group, Ispat Group, Bangkok, Italy, JE, etc. He has visited London Business School and Wharton Management School, Philippa for guest lectures, in addition to premier management institutes in India. He has been conferred honorary fellowship by All India Management Association for significant contribution towards professional management. He was President Consumer Electronics and Appliances Manufacturers for 2009 to 2011. He was authored a book, Passion, The Untold Story of LG Electronics. He is also the honorary editor for Journal of Projective Psychology and Mental Health by Anchorage, USA. Dear friends, without standing any further between you and chief guest on the occasion, please welcome Dr. Y.V. Verma.
I am really privileged to be invited here. Dr. V.P. Singh, Dr. Thakur, Dr. P.V. Singh, Mr. Rishi Raj, and Mr. Samant, ladies and gentlemen. Glass ceilings are everywhere. We have to learn to take them, and I will give one or two examples where even I was connected. But everything has to be understood in a perspective. Golda Meir, when she was the Prime Minister of Israel, she visited US when Ronald Reagan was the President. And she told him, Mr. President, if you can give me 2 generals, I will rule the world. So Ronald Reagan asked her, which 2 generals are you talking about? She said, I have the 2 best warrior generals in Israel. You give me General Electric and General Motor, I will rule the world. Now this is the scenario, how the businesses are taking over societies. How the businesses are changing the values of the society and how the businesses are taking over the economies of the country. And that is why, in this perspective, what has business been? I've been heading businesses. I was in HR for a number of years. And let me tell you, business is no more business. Business is a war. Either you win it or you lose it. So issues like diversity and so many other things, I'll give you different countries examples where I've been exposed to, are take a back seat. I'll give you 2-3 examples. When LG started in India, BPL was at the top. There was some problem, within 1 year BPL died down. Number 2, unexpected and things which are happening in the business. People, American Apparel recently, the CEO was a lady. She was fired by the independent board of directors. Never heard of in any part of the world. And you cannot imagine it in India for another couple of decades. For various reasons, logical reasons. Electrolux, which was a market leader in consumer durables and garden appliances till a decade back. Its turnover, revenue turnover was 65% from the consumer durables with a loss of about 25% and 35% from garden appliances with a profit of more than 45%, decided to sell its brand of consumer durables. And without demeaning any brand in India, as a matter of fact, it sold its brand to Videocon without taking any money. That was a master deal, financial deal on part of Videocon. But this is what is business. Chorus, which had a market share of 22%, was taken over by Tata Steel with a market share of 7 to 8%. Now this is very unpredictable things which are happening. Nokia, which was a market leader in mobile, because of which the Finland, the unemployment, because it has closed and it has sold over a lot of portion to Microsoft, it is reducing. Out of 76,000 in Finland, they reduced the employment to 44,000. Finland is suffering with huge unemployment problem. But these type of issues, diversity and many other issues take a back seat because survival becomes something which is very important. It is performance. And every year, the expectation of the stakeholders of the performance from the CEOs is going up and up and up. I give you another example. Business Today comes out every year with 50 young CEOs, less than 45 or 40 years of age, and a jury is appointed to nominate them. 5 years back, I was looking into a list of the 50 people, and I happen to know personally about 60 to 70% of them. Out of those 60 to 70% who were rated as the best CEOs, 80% lost their job in the next 9 months. When performance is becoming so, it's like a war game, such things do take a backseat. But let me also tell you, there's one company in India which is employing the maximum number of working women in the whole world. Can you believe it? TCS. TCS has 32.7% lady employees, whereas number 2 is Facebook with 31% global, and number 3 is Google with 30%. Another thing, there are a lot of global CEOs and the top 2 persons among the top 3 persons, and you will be amazed to know that the most prestigious companies. Number 1, HP, Meg Whitman. She is the CEO. And you know how much is her worth? Her worth is $1.9 billion US. Sheryl Sandberg, who visited recently India, the COO of Facebook. The famous case because of which it has come. Recently, Sheryl Sandberg joined in Silicon Valley from Google to Facebook. And she took a number of employees along with her. And as a result, and before that also Adobe, and I have written an article in Business World which will come out in next series, is where 64,000 engineers went. So this was a type of class ceiling which is wanted to create. Adobe, Intel, Microsoft and one more company. They made a contract among themselves, they will not recruit anyone who is working in each other's company. these things can be tolerated in India. In Silicon Valley, 64,000 engineers and programmers went to the court against these 4 companies and their own employees that it's an illegal thing, and they won the case. They have won $342 million. So this $342 million, except for the judges' fee, etc., will be paid to these 64,000 people. So these type of glass ceilings, where the jurisdiction, where the judges, where the judiciary is playing an important role, don't exist, or they cease to exist. Marissa Mayer, she is the CEO of Yahoo. She is a lady. Ginny Rometty, CEO of IBM. Ursula, today, there was an interview. HP CEO is a lady. Safra Kras, President and CFO Oracle. And so on, so forth. All their packages are about $300 to $400 million. Not in billions, but their assets are more than billions of US dollars. 1 billion means how much? US dollars, 6,000 crores. So this is the type of thing. So wherever there has been a merit, these things are happening. But in India, there was a beautiful thing which he put it. Similarly, if you find that only 8.8% women are on the board of NSE listed companies. Another study showed that in management roles, 1 out of 8, only 1 woman was there. And in senior executive, out of 20, only 1 woman is there. Recently, government has taken out a law that in every board, there has to be 1 lady director. Now there is a huge dearth of lady directors. And how the law is twisted. Ambani, they made Nita Ambani as a lady director. She is a lady, but they should have an independent director. Unfortunately, in this Companies Law Act, which has come in 2013 October, they have not mentioned the definition of relatives. Idea was to have more and more lady directors, not the wife of the promoter. This is what it has happened. There are researches. Researches in US and Europe have shown, at least 10 researches which have been quoted in Harvard Business School, is that wherever there is a gender diversity, those companies' average performance is higher than the other companies. And number 2, in a credit Swiss Research Institute in Switzerland, also that out of 2360 companies in 2005 to 2012, which they had done, there were 1 women director, minimum 1 women director in this 2360 companies, and they found that their average performance was 25% better than the performance of the companies where there were no women in the board. Seeing this, let me also explain you some of the experiences which I personally faced. In LG Electronics, where I was there for 17-18 years and maybe one of the founders in India, there were about 22% lady employees, because incidentally, assembly line the ladies work much better. It's proven fact. So we were there, but overall LG globally it was only 10%. In year 2008, there was a drive. At that time, LG decided to globalize and internationalize and make people who are non-Koreans come to the bigger positions. What Unilever did 30 years back, or what P&G did 20 years back. And that time there was a huge drive by the corporate sold that we have to increase it. We were about more than 20%, so our target was fixed to 30% in 1 year. We achieved 25-26%. But the issue was, again, very similar. Availability of people at various levels. What Dr. VP Singh said. Availability of ladies. Because I remember when I was young, and the students, here you think, I think the diversity is around 50% or 40%. In our time, there were girls, but there were maybe 4 or 5 in a batch of 30 or 40. And most of them dropped their career. Some became actresses, some became something else, etc. They changed their whole career profile. And this is what it is. I still remember when we used to recruit from various best institutes in India, the ratio mix is changing in a very big way. And in another 10 to 15 years, things will start changing. But I've also seen that ladies will have to give in a differential treatment. I'm quite amazed when people say that you should get paternal leave. When you are having a kid, the father should get paternal leave. I think more important is when they are having a child, a lady woman is having a child, more than 12 weeks or 13 weeks, whatever is maternity act, it should be much more than that. And I think it should be minimum 9 months to 1 year. And this is what, sorry? There's no law accordingly.
There is directive by Government of India.
Oh,
2 years for 2 children for a teenager.
No private company follows it.
Yes.
So, and I don't think any PSU also follows it.
It does.
Okay, let me come to the point. We have followed, and I can give you an example. When 2 or 3 ladies, we gave that 1 year leave, they are in LG, that is a tough company. They are general managers in a 12 years, 13 years time. I know of a lady, Elizabeth Taylor. She was a director of Oracle in training. There were 2 directors and a vice president at the senior level there in an American company. And she told me, when we were there for a training, that they have to leave. She leaves the office at 4 o'clock. And whereas the other director, who was a gentleman, he leaves the office at 7 o'clock. So I asked her, how do you manage your work? Because she was a single lady, a single parent mother. She said, when my son sleeps after 9 o'clock, I work for 2 to 3 hours from my house. So this is extra. Life is tougher for ladies. With the nuclear family happening in India, I am seeing that 30 to 40% ladies are dropping from their career or taking a break of 5 to 6 years. And this gives them a big jolt in your career. But on the other side, there are countries where 3 years military training is a must. South Korea and many other countries. Ladies are having a major edge because same age lady is 3 years senior to a person who joins the corporate sector after 3 years of army training. And there in Singapore, in South Korea and a few other countries, in China, the ladies with the same age are the bosses of the men who are joining a corporate sector. So these type of things are also happening in various ways. I have dealt with a lot of people during interviews at CEO. I said for CEO's level interviews and so many. And let me tell you, when it is a comparison merit-wise, if the skills are there, then I find the women much better candidate. And it is established and it is talked about with same skill level. This is a survey which I had done verbally with about 8 or 10 people before coming here, that they are more articulate, they are more focused, they are more logical, better team player and less politicians as compared to men. Might be my personal bias, but whenever I had to put any person in a very, very sensitive job where a person might tend to get a corrupt, might get to have a lot of gifts and all, I used to keep a girl there, lady there. I have a strong belief their tendency to get corrupt is very, very low as compared to men. These are major advantages. And these things, a lot of companies as unwritten rule are practicing that. Another trend I tell you, in China, in the workers level, they were huge. They were 50-50 ratio till 3 years back of ladies and men. And now it has become 66% and 33%. 66% are men. And the finding which has come up is they have become more vocal and there are more trade unions which have emerged and more strikes are happening because most of the trade union leaders, more than 90% of the trade union leaders are men now. So this is again a finding which is bothering the Chinese people and they are trying to recruit more and more people. In a country like Norway, there is a rule that there have to be 40% lady directors in the board. And if a company does not have 40%, they close the company. And they have more than 40%. In India, just now we have a rule of one lady director. France has 29.7%. Highest is in Norway. France has about 29.7% and Italy has about 24%. But in US, China, and most of the Southeast countries, there is no room and there is no change in increasing women in the board because there is no law about that and they are not bothered about it. But the 3 points which Dr. V.P. Singh said, are the most crucial. And if you see over the year, these things are getting covered and are getting improved. And one-sided competition of men and women will change to a two-sided equal level of competition in another 10 years. So boys and men, be aware that the other side is more stronger inherently than you. They didn't have enough opportunity, or there was some issue because the upbringing of the girls and boys, there is no differentiation now in the big cities. And these are the people who are going at the choice for jobs will be much more restricted for the men. There might be a glass ceiling which instead of women might go against men after 15 to 20 years. Thank you very much.
Valuable insights and great pearls of wisdom. We are grossly inspired by our deliberation, which will be highly instrumental in our future journey. As said, like diamonds are forever, so are the precious views. So I would again like to ask Dr. V.P. Singh to share his views to enlighten us more.
I just would take a couple of minutes, and that's something of little I wanted to share. I strongly believe, as I said, that discrimination will continue, inequality will continue, and it is for us to do something. And if we wait that the law will resolve this discrimination, it is daydreaming. I wrote this poem about a year and a half back when there was a Nirbhaya incident in Delhi. You will recall that. You were not in this campus probably, but I'm sure you recall that. The world, and I'm not a cynic, I'm not a pessimist, I believe that I am a realist, and I would like to recognize and acknowledge both the reality. So I wrote this poem around that Nirbhaya Kand. And at the bottom is a very long poem, but I'm making it a little short. And there is somewhere reverberates and resonates with this glass ceiling also somewhere. मेरे भारत का अब चप्पा चप्पा हस्तिनापुर बन गया है. मेरे भारत का हर चप्पा चप्पा अब हस्तिनापुर बन गया है. हर गांव में वही हो रहा है जो राजधानी में हुआ करता है. हर दिशा में अब दुर्योधन, हर दिशा में अब नेत्रहीन धृतराष्ट्र. हर कस्बे में, हर गांव के चौपाल पर दुशासन अपनी जंघाएं ठोक रहा है. और शकुनी मामा की लंपट चौसर की बिसात बिछी है. पितामह भीष्म, चतुर विदुर भी अब उसके साथ में चले गए. द्रोणाचार्य, कृपाचार्य भ्रमित होकर जंगलों में चले गए. अपने साथ सारी आचार संहिता और अपने सारे धर्मशास्त्र. ऐसे में पता नहीं तुम किस मुगालते में हो. मुगालता मीन्स कंफ्यूजन. ऐसे में पता नहीं तुम किस मुगालते में हो कि सब ठीक हो जाएगा यहां पर बहुत जल्दी, बहुत जल्दी. तुम फिलहाल सबके साथ बस यूं ही बहस करते रहो. तुम फिलहाल सबके साथ, मेरे साथ यूं ही बहस करते रहो. कानून में संशोधन करते रहो, कुछ मोमबत्तियां जलाते रहो और खुद को बहलाते रहो. धृतराष्ट्र के न्याय पर विश्वास बनाए रखो. कृष्ण की प्रतीक्षा करते रहो. द्रौपदी ने किया ना. देर से देख रहा हूं तुम्हें, और अब मुझे लगता है कि तुम्हारे अंदर भी कौरवों का अशुद्ध रक्त बह रहा है. ऐसे में मुझे लगता है कि मुझे ही द्रौपदी बन जाना चाहिए, और ऐसे में मुझे लगता है कि मुझे ही औरत बन जाना चाहिए, और चंडी काली की तरह तुम्हारी छाती पर चढ़ जाना चाहिए। मेरे भारत का चप्पा चप्पा हस्तिनापुर बन गया है, हर गांव में वही हो रहा है जो राजधानी में हो रहा है। So merely debating, merely deliberating and articulating is not good enough. I'm inviting you, I'm exhorting you that don't wait for the state, don't wait for the law to bring about equality. It is your job, it's my job. Because law makes slow progress, slow change. चंडी काली की तरह छाती में चढ़ने की जरूरत है, और मैं आपको ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि आप वायलेंस के रास्ते पर चलें। What I'm inviting you to take charge. चंडी काली बने। आपका स्वागत है।
Always remain in our hearts and minds. Let's now invite Dr. Swati Agarwal, Area Chair HR, to extend vote of thanks to our esteemed guests.
Good morning. It's my privilege to extend heartfelt thanks to the dignitaries, Dr. Verma and Dr. Singh. It was really intriguing to listen to Dr. Singh when he shared and established very categorically what is glass ceiling. When he said that it is a function of outlook and the values, which is at the core, and it results from typical stereotyping starting itself from the family. The fact is, as he said, it's the role of the CEO first to show how well we can break the glass ceiling, or as he said, crack if not break. Thanks, sir. I further would like to say, with the vast experience and the varied experience which Dr. Verma carries in his cap, he's so well established by saying that when survival is such a key issue, diversity takes a backseat, which is there in practice. Though, as he said and the data says, it's diversity which is when high, it leads to performance, and it's established fact. Still it gets neglected because of the survival issue. I would like to add one thing from my side. 1 month back, when I read it, I got into introspection. The statement of Indra Nui, and I was discussing with one of my colleagues also, that when she said in a seminar in USA that, strange, when she and being head of CEO of one of such a brand of PepsiCo, that women can't have it all. Was it talking about glass ceiling? Was it talking about that we desire to have it all? It's a question which we need to discuss further in the, as in the event unfold. At last but not the least, my special thanks to Director Sir. It's his guidance and support because of which we are having these events in the campus. And he established a tone for the event when he said that it's the glass ceiling is intangible and complex. So difficult to crack it or break it. So thanks. Thanks to all the dignitaries or diets in this events. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The house is now open for questions.
When I completed my first year, I remember my father said that, what would you take in your specialization? I said, Papa, I would be taking human resources. So he said that, my dear sir, nowadays there are not many of the opening in human resources, and it can be counted on finger. This is what I am inquiring again and again from my professors also, that isn't it somewhere that there is something missing for men? When people see that human resource, they associate women with it. Why don't they associate men with it?
Your question has two parts. One is the hidden part and another is the open part. Let me respond to the open part first. Hidden part, Dr. Rana is more expert in do that. You see, 20, 25 years, all kind of parents come and ask that what kind of profession or vocation or discipline their children should choose. And this has been my answer, and I continue to give that answer, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you are studying human resource or finance or anthropology or sociology or Hindi or Sanskrit. What is important is that can you excel? How does it matter that you study aeronautical engineer or mechanical engineer and you are a third class lousy engineer? How does it matter if you are a tabla player and a world class tabla player and tabla player like Ustad Zakir Hussain, who charges probably 25 lakh or 50 lakh for one concert, and he is a model for Wasat, and so many girls are after him. So choose a profession which you like, choose a subject which you like. How does it matter? So that's my answer. That if your instinct says that you are in for human resource, go ahead. But don't go for it because you think that you love people. This is often HR people answer. An absolutely bullshit answer or bullshit explanation. I mean, do you mean to say that somebody who is in marketing or who is in finance, he doesn't have to interact with people? He also. Actually, every profession has human angles. Okay, so that's the first part. Second part of the problem.
What was the second part? No, but I'll tell you one thing, which the trend which we are seeing, that more girls are opting for HR. And I interact with a couple of them. It's not for the love of HR. I think HR, they have a perception that HR is a better, is an easier job to handle than sales or all those things. This is a feeling which I get. But most of the HR people don't want to get exposed to either. Dr. VP Singh is an expert. Somewhere I was invited, this was in Wharton. Recently I went to Wharton Business School, and there in HR specialization it was 95% girls. And they said, no, I asked, it's meant for men, they told me very clear. I said, no, unless you understand the psyche of workers to white collar employees, everyone, you cannot be a good HR manager. Number one. It is also a fact that initial openings after a campus are much lesser for HR. And at that time, the students have to really struggle. This is first challenge. The last challenge is when they will be at the age of 40 to 45, their package is 12. And if they are not able to switch from HR to a strategy job and a business job, and only 5 or 6 people in last 10 or 15 years have done that. I know since 80s about 20 to 25 people who could shift from HR to business. They become irrelevant. Because with the much lesser than industry is a give and take. What value you are adding to the company and how much payment you are getting. If the company will get lesser, with a lesser salary, a same equivalent job person, I'll give you one example. I have friends in software in Germany. At the age of 52, their packages were cut down by 30%. And they went to the owners. Owner said, I have people available who can, in the market, who can do a similar job with another 35% less salary. You should be very happy that I am employing you. Harsh realities don't come in newspapers. Harsh reality don't come out in studies of the so-called elite business consultants. Because I have dealt with all of them. These are the harsh realities. How much can you deliver and how much are you going to receive? So these are the two challenges. Third is the present breed who is trying for HR want to all join in the corporate. You have to be closer to the business. That means either in a branch or in a factory, unless you understand the business, what job you do in the corporate? You just coordinate. You are not going to add any skill to yourself. These are the three challenges which are back, first time we hired salespeople as girls. And they are first time in this industry and in FMCG industry. In FMCG, there was one girl who was employed 15 years back, Shamila. Then she shifted to Sony. She was the first example. And they are doing a wonderful job. The thought process, the corporate is in sales, marketing, there are sufficient girls, there is no issue about it, and they are recruited. The issue is when they deal with the channel. Channel means dealer, distributor, etc., etc. They are all very rich people. Their revenue is 400 crore, 200 crore, 500 crore, but their values are not that good. And sales people have to go month end, they'll have to go in late in the evening, night, get the material unloaded to is it safe or not. And let me tell you, it is safe. I had tried that. We started with 5, 4 of first year, 4 of them stayed there, 1 came back to the corporate. Next year we employed 12 out of 30 or 35. And they are doing very good job. So there is no issue. I am convinced.
If I can add, as I said that I represent the KFC in India. We run about 500 odd restaurants in India in the farmland area, in addition to 15 other businesses. I go to campuses this year, in fact, last year, in fact, I went and collected nearly 180 students from IHM, Institute of Hotel Management. And we had nearly 45% women students. And one of the reasons why we chose that, couple of reasons what Dr. Wall was saying, that they are more sincere, more committed, less political, less manipulative, and someone who have intrinsic DNA to interact with people, particularly customers. We prefer women employees in our Pizza Hut and KFC outlets. So it's not that there is a discrimination in certain organizations, I can't say on behalf of everyone. We also have a lot of soft corner in a very positive sense with people who are disabled. And we don't use the word disabled, we call it special people. If you go to Costa Coffee, you go to some of the KFC restaurants, you will find people who can't speak, who can't hear. Their speech and hearing impaired. And we have one of the large number of resource which is from this society, this part of the society. So there are a lot of employees who are not in this discriminating. So there is a lot of openness and it makes business sense as well.
Also where which will help them for taking their future decisions. May I now request Director Sir to present mementos to our guests as a humble gesture and token of gratitude. With this, we come to the end of the inaugural session of HR Conclave. I request the esteemed guests and Director Sir along with faculty members to please join in for high tea outside on one. While all the students are advised to have their tea outside cafeteria and assemble back here sharp at 11:40 for panel one. Thank you.